Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and completely dismantle the illusion that a good feeling somehow makes you a good trader. Today, we're taking a really surgical look at what actually separates the amateurs from the professionals in the markets. We're going to explore the precise metrics that define a true statistical edge, because let's be honest here, most people operating in the markets have a very, very vague sense of how they're actually doing. So we're going to strip away all the emotion, leave the guesswork completely behind, and build a mathematically sound framework for your trading business. Instantly, you can see the stark contrast between getting caught up in emotional narratives versus running a precise, calculation-based business. On one hand, you have approximate trading. This is classic amateur language. They say stuff like, oh, I had a good month, or man, I'm down a lot, or hey, it's better than expected. It's entirely narrative-based. But then you have the professional approach, precise trading. Professionals rely on specific, calculated numbers that they review regularly. And they don't do this because spreadsheets are super exciting, frankly they aren't, but because precision is literally the only thing that approximation can't match and emotion can't distort. So there's this massive, almost invisible chasm between what feels like it is working and what is working. I mean, they sound pretty similar, right? But they are fundamentally different questions. And if you're out there relying on your feelings to evaluate your success, you are setting yourself up for a really painful awakening. The illusion of performance without measurement. Let's look at why our human brains are actually hardwired to fail at evaluating our own success. You've probably heard the legendary management principle from Peter Drucker, but flipping it really exposes our core problem here. What is not measured is not managed. It is merely experienced. Think about that. If you aren't rigorously measuring your trading system with specific metrics, you don't actually have a trading business. You're just having an unmanaged experience. And the terrifying thing about unmanaged experiences is that we evaluate them entirely through our deeply flawed feelings. Let's look at exactly how flawed those feelings are. The 2x you see here represents a massive finding from the behavioral economics research of Kahneman and Tversky. Their work on loss aversion proves that humans feel losses approximately twice as intensely as equivalent gains. Think about what that actually means for a second. We are biologically rigged to systematically overstate our losses and understate our gains. Evolution basically designed us to be terrible at trading. Imagine a month where you have 10 winning trades and 8 losing trades, and let's say your wins are slightly larger than your losses. Objectively speaking, your actual ledger is positive. You're profitable, but because of that 2x emotional weight we just talked about, those 8 losses felt like 16. And those 10 wins, they only felt like 5. So your emotional ledger ends up deeply negative. Subjectively, you just feel like a loser, even when the absolute math says otherwise. And here is the ultimate danger of falling into that psychological trap. A trader operating entirely on their subjective emotional ledger might just abandon a perfectly profitable system simply because it feels bad, a feeling that the actual hard data would have immediately proven wrong. You absolutely must use precise measurement to let reality override your internal narrative. Why? Because reality is the only thing the markets care about. The market doesn't care about your emotional ledger one bit. The Stoic accountant. To solve these biological blind spots, we can actually look way back to the ancient Stoics. They were absolute masters at collecting objective data on themselves. Take Seneca, the incredibly wealthy Stoic philosopher. He maintained this fascinating practice. Every single evening, he didn't just casually reflect on his day, he examined it systematically. He'd ask, what did I do? Where did I fall short? Where did I meet the standard? Seneca wasn't doing this to beat himself up or feel guilty. He was running a systematic daily audit to measure the exact specific gap between his personal standard and his actual performance for that day. He said, I conceal nothing from myself. I omit nothing. By completely refusing to hide from his own data, he gathered the specific, honest facts required for genuine improvement. You see, you simply cannot improve generally. You can only improve specifically. And you definitely can't improve specifically without knowing exactly, brutally, where you currently stand. So, applying that Stoic wisdom to our topic challenges us to fundamentally shift our perspective. The amateur asks, how do I feel about my trading this month? But the Stoic accountant asks, what do my numbers say about my trading this month? We've got to stop managing our feelings and start developing our performance through accuracy. Accuracy is really the only basis for true improvement. The 7 numbers every trader must know. All right, let's get incredibly tactical now and look at the exact metrics that replace the need for all this narrative-based evaluation.
These are the 7 numbers of edge: win rate, average win, average loss, expectancy, profit factor, maximum drawdown, and rule adherence rate. Every serious trader needs to know these by heart. Let me be crystal clear. If you do not know these numbers about your own system, you don't actually know your system. You only know your experience of your system. And as we've already established, those are very, very different things. So let's break these down one by one.
First up is win rate. This is the exact percentage of your trades that close profitably. But notice the critical threshold here. This has to be calculated from a minimum sample of 100 trades. Anything less is honestly just statistical noise. Now, on its own, your win rate tells you almost nothing. Actually, scratch that. You could have a 90% win rate and still lose all your money if your few losses are catastrophic. But it serves as the absolutely necessary foundation for the rest of our math.
Now for our second and third numbers, average win and average loss. We have to change how we measure. We must express them in R, which stands for multiples of risk taken rather than dollars. Why? Well, because dollar amounts warp and bend depending on your position size, and that just creates emotional distortion. Measuring in R ensures our data stays constant, objective, and totally pure, regardless of whether you're trading a $1,000 account or a $1 million account. In a well-managed system, your average loss should be kept very, very close to 1 R.
Okay, we need to slow down completely here because expectancy is literally the single most important number in your business. It is your win rate multiplied by your average win minus your loss rate multiplied by your average loss. This is it. This formula answers the only question that truly matters. Does your system actually have a statistical edge over a large sample size?
This brutally categorizes your performance. If your expectancy is positive, congratulations, your system has an edge. If it's 0, you're just having a break-even experience, which really means fees and commissions will slowly bleed you dry over time. And if your expectancy is negative, well, your system is quite literally functioning as a charity to the market. You are just giving your money away. Our fifth metric is the profit factor. This is simply your total gross profit divided by your total gross loss. This number neatly contextualizes your expectancy. Anything above a 1 means you're profitable. Hitting above 1.5 is meaningfully profitable. And if you can push that number above a 2, you are operating a remarkably strong system. Number 6 is maximum drawdown. This is the largest peak-to-trough decline in your account's equity curve expressed as a percentage. This number is incredibly vital because it dictates your position sizing, and it defines the raw, grueling psychological challenge your system is going to put you through. It basically tells you exactly how much pain you need to be prepared to endure before your mathematical edge finally plays out. Finally, number 7, the rule adherence rate. This is the absolute bedrock of everything we've talked about today. This is the percentage of trades where you followed every single rule in your written plan. And guess what? It is the only metric here that is 100% in your control. Listen to me carefully. If this number is low, your system will inevitably underperform its statistics. Why? Because you aren't actually trading your system. You're executing a degraded, contaminated version of your strategy that's been ruined by discretionary deviations. The blind spot. Bringing this all together, we finally arrive at the ultimate test of your trading reality. I've got a question for you, and I want you to answer it honestly to yourself. Right now, without opening a spreadsheet, without looking anything up, can you state all 7 numbers for your current system? Win rate, average win in R, average loss in R, expectancy, profit factor, maximum drawdown, and rule adherence rate. If you're drawing a blank on any of these 7, you have a massive blind spot masking the absolute most critical information about your own performance. Let me leave you with an absolute truth. You cannot manage what you have not measured, and you cannot improve what you cannot see. Trading without these numbers is exactly like navigating a ship without any instruments. You might arrive at your destination, but it'll only be by pure accident, and you definitely won't be able to repeat the journey. So leave the approximate behind, go calculate your edge, and remember, the market does not reward your feelings. It only ever rewards cold, hard numbers. Ask yourself, are you going to keep merely experiencing the market, or are you ready to finally manage your edge? Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.